Yo, what's up? Plato's Cave here with a new show, Stream Makers. So here we're gonna go ahead and talk about streaming, hardware, software, processes, creativity, anything that goes into a stream. Um, I want to showcase other people's streams as well. Today we're going to be mostly talking about what I use in my stream. It's the first episode, so I think that's fitting. And I'll go over not only the equipment I have, the hardware that I have, the software that I have, some of the programs that I use, some of my thought processes that go into things when I'm streaming. And then if anybody's actually joining this episode, I'd love to answer questions too. Anybody in chat that has questions. And like I said, after this episode, I will have guests. My next episode will have a guest star, and I'll bring them in via a new Twitch beta um, that's kind of just out here recently. It's guest star, I think it's called. Been playing around with it. It's pretty cool. You can join me from your cell phone. That way you can walk around your play space. You can walk around your area. You can show off your OBS, your Streamlabs, whatever you have without having to use your PC to communicate with me. And it frees you up to be able to really show off your stream. So without further ado, let's take a look at what we got going on here in my setup. So let's look at my room. Let's start with that. Okay. So this is the cave. This is where I broadcast my VR stuff from when I can, when I have an opportunity. Let's start with the video you're watching now. I'm using an Autobot camera right there. And as you notice, it can follow you around the room. Wherever I go, it's going to follow me. So what's really cool about that is if I'm here on my playmat and playing, and I'm section of my stream in the corner, I move my arms, I move around a lot. I might move over here and get something. I'm not being cut out of that shot. I'm being included in that shot constantly. So it's a really cool camera. I think it's like 160 bucks or whatever. USB-C, no power, nothing. It's all powered through the USB-C. That's running all the way through my ceiling to my PC back here. I've got an LED light that's stationed right here, and that allows the play space to be lit. This will also be stationary via commands too. So as you can see, it's not following me around any longer. If I put an L next to my face, a little light goes off, and now I know it's following me. Pretty cool. Some of the stuff that really I don't use for my stream, but it's kind of neat. I've got an arcade top over here. So I've got an arcade top with a television that's hooked up to a Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is a terabyte hard drive with like 10,000 different games, and it's all retro games. So anything from Atari all the way up to PlayStation 1. Won't do N64. It won't do anything that intricate, but just enough to get wet my whistle when I really want to play those old games I'm used to playing when I was a kid. Player 1 and Player 2 setup with the slide ball in the middle. Pretty cool, right? So that's all set up right there. I also have a Switch. My boy plays Switch a lot. That's hooked up here as well. We play Switch. And then to the left of this setup here, I do have my PC and my PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 is hooked up to both televisions. Depending on where I want to go, I've got a switch box for that. And my PC, well, this is where, my main streaming and main gaming is done from. It is an Alienware R11. I'm using a 3070 GPU and an i7 CPU. So it's nothing too crazy, but it's plenty for what I needed to do. I am hardwired into the router that's upstairs with a Cat 8 cable, which it's like very thick cable and probably more than I ever need. However, it works. It's available. Why not? I got the bandwidth. It's zooming. The only problem I do have is if like the family is on their tablets, if my two boys are on their tablets watching something or gaming or whatever, and I'm gaming and I'm also streaming at night, I do sometimes have an issue with that. But I was able to fix most of my problems with my encoder, which I'll show you, and also my bit rate, my bit rate on my stream. So over here, this is the main area here. This is my desk that's adjustable. It goes up and down. It's motorized. So if I'm standing up doing VR, I could very easily have it at my gut level. Or if I'm sitting down like right now, I could sit down really easy. My controllers are on here, headset, whatnot. Nothing too crazy there. This is a little homage to my past gaming history, and these are just my retro consoles, my Atari, my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo, my N64. I got a Pico 4 up here. It's probably got to get more dust on it than these consoles will, but anyways, just kind of like my back wall. I got my LED lights, everything. So this is what you'd see if you watch my stream if I decide to put my camera on. And part of the reason I don't green screen is because I got some cool shit to stand in front of. So why not? Over here is how I get totally shit faced sometimes on or off stream. This is my little beer area. I've got a little kegerator over here. It's got nothing to do with streaming, but anyways, it's in the shot. So um, for the most part, that's the equipment that I use. I have a Valve Index, which I have up here in the ceiling. I've got a nice little pulley system. It goes back and forth, and it's on little pulleys, and it helps with not, having that cable not be in my way when I'm moving my arms around, when I'm moving around, in my area. I've got a little play mat down here as well that I will stand on that'll help me from going out of boundary, whatnot. um, so that's the hardware that I use to stream with. Let's go ahead and take a look here at my software setup. So get back into the mix here. So I use OBS. That's my main recording and streaming software that I use. Um, I have two displays. I have a display over on my side here. That's where I'll have OBS running from, um, and that's where I'll have my chat as well. So when I want to see what's going on with my OBS or chat, it's up here on this display. This display in front of me here, um, that's where my gameplay, and I use display capture, which I will show you as I run down my sources here and my scenes. I'll show you how that all works. But so I use OBS. Some of the other software that I use, which I'll go over once I get into these sources and whatnot, I use Voice Attack. Okay, and I use Noobs Commander. Now, Noobs Commander, which again I will get into in a second, will automate my stream. It'll allow me to use a voice command to go ahead and trigger a script, which I have pre-written, and the script will run, and it will allow certain things to do its thing. And it really helps with VR streaming. Let me tell you, if you're a VR streamer and you're not using those two tools, you're doing something wrong, or you just don't give a shit about it, which is fine too. If you're just worried about your gameplay, or if you're just capturing a sporting event or something like that, it's not a big deal to do these kind of things. But it's really neat to be able to say a word and trigger like my instant replay, which I'll show you soon. Uh, what are they again? What's that, Miss Misery? Oh, the programs that I use: Voice Attack and Noobs Commander. And I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go over them. I'm gonna take this video too, and I'll post it on YouTube, and I'll show that to you. But in this video, I'm gonna show you those two programs, how I use those in my stream. Yeah, Voice Command, you're gonna love it. Once you see Voice Command and what it can do, it's gonna blow your mind. Noobs Commander as well. But these two programs are what I use in conjunction with OBS. A couple things you'll also need. Yeah, Noobs, Noobs Commander. Noobs Commander, it was written by a guy named Nutty. He's a YouTuber, streamer. He's awesome. He's where I get a lot of my stuff from, but he wrote that. And you have to have WebSockets installed. So if you're using something like a Stream Deck, you already have WebSockets, obviously. And you cannot be on OBS. Yeah, that's right, Noobs Commander. You cannot be on OBS 28. So you got to be on 27.1 or whatever. Just don't update to the new OBS, whatever you do. But that's how you'll get those two programs, or Noobs Commander, to work. So I'm going to run down real quick here. This is my first show here, so just bear with me here. I've got two OBSs going. I've got two setups here, but let's zoom in. Let me position everything here. So right here, these are my scenes right here, okay? So I have my opening video, and what that is just like a little cut that I made of a now starting screen with some corny little video that I did, okay? Then I have a start screen. The start screen will cue this right before I'm about to go on. And as you can see on both of these screens, I have my chat going down here on the bottom. So I decided to, instead of having chat, which looks really cool on the side, I decided to have it streaming on the bottom. And this is something that you can do through Stream Elements. There's a Mr. Boost is his name. He's got a couple of different, um, you know, widgets. Sorry, I can't think. That he made, and that one's pretty cool. It kind of keeps things at a minimum. So, anyways, that's the start screen, and then once that ends, I go right into my gameplay stream, and that's what this looks like right here. So this is my main gameplay stream. These things are all automated, by the way, by those two programs I told you about. Those are gonna start playing my opening screen. It's going to time to a certain time, and then after that amount of time, it's going to trigger the next opening cut, and then it's going to trigger this, my gameplay. So I hit a button, I just go about my business. All this is automated, and it's happening. So on my main screen, you can see I've got my display. I use display capture. So what I'll do is I'll use two screens, like I said, and this main screen here is going to have it's going to be my main screen in my room, right? So I have to make sure it's up. When I open Steam VR, which is what I use to play Population 1, obviously, it has a display view. Hit display view, blow that up, make that widescreen. Now I've got the whole screen as my gameplay. And then what I do is, you can see it looks a little bit cut right here. I use a mask, which I'll show you in a second, to mask out this. If anybody's interested, I've got some files I can give you for different masks. What the mask will do is, obviously, it'll mask out certain portions of it, and it'll make a shape out of whatever you've got input source. There are some cool, I'm using a mask right now, as you can see on this little circle that I'm in here. That's a mask, okay. I also have my chat on the bottom, like we talked about. Down here in the chat, though, I use this chat widget, but I also took my logo and then I used the same color as the background of the chat widget here, and I just put my logo there too, so it kind of feeds into my logo right in the bottom. Then I got my logo here as well, Plato's Cave logo. I make a lot of my artwork with a program called Canva. You can use it for free, or you can pay a monthly subscription, and it gives you access to other assets. One of the assets are like videos. Like if you look behind my gameplay, there's like, and also in my stream now, you can see there's video playing. I got that from the Canvas site. I just lifted some cool shit, put it as a background on one of my sources. Done. Just plays, it loops, and it gives some foil, to my gameplay. It kind of sticks, my gameplay sticks out. This also logo I made just used with that program. I green screened out a portion of a video that was like audio beats going off, and so now when I bring this into OBS, I use a green screen filter, and boom, it just looks like a circle right there. Recent followers, hi Caltrop, thanks for the follow. Will be displayed up here in the corner, and that's just a browser source I lifted from Stream Elements. I found just, there's so much shit on Stream Elements. If you go on there, a ton of different things you can lift, and I just lifted just the recent followers section out of all these different template stuff, and I just popped it on there because I thought it looked cool. Now another thing I'll do on my stream is StatBot. So what'll happen is, it'll go to this screen, and this little StatBot guy will pop up right here. So this is tied to pop1stats.com. I'll get on, I'll start a stream, I'll start a session on Pop1Stats, and then I'll come into here, and let's see if you can see my source over here. And then so I have, this is a nightmare over here. Over here, as one of my browser sources, is just the actual website. So I went to the website, copied the URL, I put it in the browser source here, okay, and then I cropped out the rest of that web page, and I just cropped out just that little part that always updates the Pop1Stats, okay. So every time I come to this, looks like crap right now, right? I'll show you why. Every time I come to this, I'll have to go in here, I interact into that that source. I'll find my name on this here. So let's say I'm right here, right? Click on myself. Now it loads up this page right there. Now it looks a lot better, right? I made graphics where it says average kills, because the guy that did the webpage did a good job, but he just didn't make the font big enough. You just really can't see much when you're looking on a stream. So I went in and I made these little average damaged. So that lays on top of that website, and then as that website updates, it shows me, how long I've been playing, average kills, whatnot. Now I trigger that with voice command. I say statbot, and then what I'll have is, let's watch it come in. It'll fly in, statbot by pop1stats.com. I recorded a corny version of myself talking, and every time I say that, it automates. This pops up and runs for, I think it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I don't want it, dominating my stream the whole time, but it's just a kind of cool thing. Pops up in the stream. Now you got my current stats for that session I've been playing. Different, right? Creative. It's kind of what I've been going for with my streams. Kind of just thinking outside the box, what works, what doesn't work. I always wanted to have my current kills like somewhere like recorded, like if you're playing any other first-person shooters, you can see your kills. And it's so hard to do that because you have to like do it manually and trigger it. And if you forget, if you killed somebody or you did, it's so hard to keep track of all that. What's up, Yo Poppy? How you doing, buddy? Do you have a button? Do you press a button? No, I just say word. I just say a command. So for instance, I try to use words I don't use a lot, like to trigger certain things. So like my instant replay, I'll say kiwi, because who's going to say freaking kiwi, right? And then it triggers my instant replay. Certain things though, like when I say headshot, which if I, get a headshot, all of a sudden the little Mortal Kombat toasty guy will come up, toasty, automatically. So there are certain keywords you can use that you're going to always use, or you can make it something totally, like something you wouldn't use. So that's the StatBot portion of my scene sources here. And I want to let you two know, Miss Misery, Yo Poppy, if you're still in here, you guys are going to be on these next ones coming up. Just so you know, this is just my introduction to my stream. You're going to be coming in doing the same thing. You're going to show us your stream, your processes. We're going to talk in person. So don't, just carve out a little time for me, okay? I'll be in touch with you. Moving on to the next source here. This is my instant replay. So this gets a little involved. So I say kiwi, and all of a sudden what'll happen is it'll take the last 20 seconds of my stream and replay it, okay? And then after that, it'll cut back away to my normal gameplay. So what I did was and I'll explain this process in a second. I built all this shit around it, like instant replay and all this trussing around it, just to kind of make it look like a fucking WWF show. But I also triggered music too, so there's like a guy that's like a rap, instant replay rap song, whatever. It's kind of cool. But I say kiwi, it boom, saves those last 20 seconds. It pulls up this source that I made here. It pulls this source up, instant replay, runs it for 16 seconds, and then boom, it goes right back to my regular gameplay stream, and there I am back to my gameplay. Let me move this out a little bit here because I think we could see it better like this. All right, so with the replay, first of all, you have to download a couple things. So there's a couple ways of doing it. I do it maybe a little bit differently than the way you could now do it, because there's some new OBS plugins that have come out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to include links into this YouTube video, and I'll spread it around to all this stuff, links to all these processes, and I'll always answer questions outside of this. But the first thing you have to have going on is you have to have your replay buffer running. So when you start your stream, your replay buffer is going to be running. In your replay buffer, if you come over here to your setup settings, file settings. Okay. So these are my settings in OBS. You're going to go over to output. Okay. First thing you want to do, if you're recording, you want to have at least a bit rate of 50,000 kilobytes, okay? And also CBR, you want to use that as your rate control, max quality, high. Try to run a profile like this for recording. This will give you the best recordings, and use the NVIDIA encoder if you can, okay? But you'll have a replay buffer section here. You're going to want to enable replay buffer. Now, you can do a pretty big replay buffer, but it's straining, and plus, you don't want to replay the last 1 minute. You want to replay a very short time. So I have mine set at 20 seconds. Um, Mine's set at 20 seconds. So you save that. While I'm in here too, let's take a look at a couple things. Let's go to streaming. So you want to use this NVIDIA encoder. Be careful with your bit rate. Now, I'm at 4,500. I could knock it up to 5,000, but you really don't want to be above 5,500. I think Twitch I think it's up to 6,000. But if you're running a low bit rate, this is why your stream might look a little shitty. If you're running like 2,500 kilobytes, so bump that shit up, especially if you've got decent internet, to at least 4,500 kilobytes. Keyframe interval to quality on the preset, okay? So your stuff should look kind of like this. Also, over here, if you go to hotkeys, once you install the program I'm going to tell you about, you're going to have an instant replay section right here. And you're going to assign that a hotkey. See, Control Shift D. That's what mine is right here. Okay. And there's a save replay too, but right in here, instant replay. So I've got that all set up now. Okay. Also, let's go to the video section here while we're in settings, since we're already here. 19 by 20. I know a lot of y'all are dogs are going nuts because I'm ugly. You don't like ugly people. I know you guys are on doing a different format too on your like Facebook streams, TikTok streams. So this is just for a 16:9. Again, you guys will have it different, running 60 frames per second. So those are my settings. Now, once and another thing too, in your settings, you're gonna want to go ahead and just make sure you enable here advanced settings. Sorry. So in advanced settings here, not advanced settings. Hold on. Bear with me here. General settings. You can there's a setting in here. God, I don't know where it's at, but basically what it does is here we go. It starts the replay buffer right when you hit stream. So it'll automatically, once you hit start stream, the replay buffer will start automatically. So this is what we're talking about, instant replay. Okay, so back to the instant replay. So when I say that command, basically it's taking 20 seconds. It's saving that clip as well in your videos folder, so you'll have access to that instant replay later on. And what you're going to do is just create, and I always copy these, like GameStray. If I'm going to go to this gameplay stream, my main stream, and I'm going to do something off of that, I'm always copying that source, duplicating the source, renaming it, and then using the assets within that source. Mainly because I want everything to be named the same, because when I use my move transition, it's going to move those assets very smoothly when they have the same background, the same name, okay, things like that. That's the move transition that I use, and that's easy to get as well. Let's show a couple more things on this, and then I'm going to get into noobs, and I'm going to get into voice attack. Okay. So I also have a couple other, I call them commercial breaks. So I can take a break, and it'll pull up like one of the commercials I made. Now these I don't use voice attack for these. I have a Stream Deck sitting here, and I'll just walk up and I'll hit the Stream Deck, and the Stream Deck is already basically set up. Let's show you my Stream Deck setup. So you can set these processes up like I'm going to show you in voice attack through here as well. I think it's called multitask, and you select multitask and you go in here, and for instance like this one, it'll switch to the scene I want, it'll add a delay, and then it'll switch back after that delay to the other scene. So I hit the button, I know that little video clip's only a minute, and then it'll do its thing, and then it'll switch right back to my gameplay stream, and I'm just playing, getting my ass kicked like I did this morning. So that's how I run like those those things all run like in between gameplay, stuff like that. So that's the rundown of my scenes. Now I want to go into one of my scenes, my gameplay scene, and I just want to look at what I got going on in my gameplay scene right here. So these are the sources within my gameplay scene, and it's always a good idea to group certain sources together. So for instance, if you look at my if you go ahead and look at my gameplay here, I not only have the gameplay, but behind it I added a color source, and I see it's black, and I used a blur on it. So if you know what I'm saying, so here's my display, here's my display here, but here's a black color source with a blur on it, filter, and that gives it kind of a pop out. It kind of pops that stream out a little bit from the background. Okay, so that's what I use. For instance, like, let's see where it is. Gameplay right here. So you can see it. I'm getting this all jacked up. Here we go. So like, for instance, Live 1. That's what it's called here. I open that group. It's the gameplay color source grouped together. So if I move that, I make it bigger, whatever, it all stays together. It doesn't separate. One thing I do want to point out, if you're doing a gameplay capture, so I'm doing gameplay capture. So it's basically gonna in the gameplay display capture. I'm sorry, it's capturing the whole display of what I'm doing. You're just gonna make sure when you're doing that, if you get like a grayed out, you see that how that looks different now. It's you wanna have actually Windows 10 or up or automatic selected, or it'll look like shit if you use that. So just a little side note. But in here too, I've got my some automated things. So for instance, like I was telling you, if I say headshot, the little toasty guy pops up. That's all in there as a source, and it will, as you can see right now, here we go. You can't see him. When I hit the button right there, it'll reset whatever that is. It'll pop back up. I don't know if that makes sense, but all right. So let's talk about what everyone came and what you guys would really want to hear about. Let's talk about Noobs. So let's first open up Noobs Commander. I'll show you what it looks like. So once you set this up, you'll be connected. As you can see right here. So you're connected to OBS right now. So now on the side here, I can select processes. So for instance, let's say we want to write this script and we want the stream to start, and then so it's going to start, record, you start your stream, and then you want to add a delay. So hit delay. Okay. Everything's in milliseconds, which is really annoying. I don't understand, but whatever, milliseconds, right? So it's going to go whatever. And then what's going to happen, actually, let's go scene here. I think you can kind of pick up what I'm putting down. I'm basically making, so you can move them, start to stream, opening videos, the first scene, it's going to go 10,000 milliseconds. Then it's going to switch to gameplay stream. Boom, I just wrote my first script. Now your imagination is the only thing holding you back here. Whatever you can imagine that you do, if it's making a source visible and then invisible like I was telling you about, so that image pops up and goes away. If it's dimming audio, that's another thing. When you set up your instant replay, you don't want to have gameplay audio going, so you're going to want to cut gameplay audio while your instant replay is running, and then have it go back on. That's how all these processes are done. They call them scripts, okay? So let's import a script that I made here. And I don't even remember half these darn things. Let's see. What is that one called? It's called main start. Okay. As you can see, I got a lot of these. So look at this. This is when I hit start, which I have just an icon. I took this script and I just put the icon on my desktop and I just double click it because I got my headset off, doesn't matter right now. And what happens is it starts the stream, it mutes my desktop audio, it mutes my mic, it runs a 20-second delay, Let's see your search history. Down on this computer, you don't have to worry about anything on this computer. I'm good. Just don't touch my phone. Uh, it switches to the open video, and then it's going to run for 210,000 freaking billion milliseconds. Then it's going to switch to this screen. So you can see, look at all this shit's happening. All this stuff's happening because of this one script I wrote. So you get the gist of that. So Noobs Commander, you write your script, you save your script, done. I saved this, I'm done. What do I do with this? Well, you're going to use voice command. Here, let's bring it over here. See my nostrils. Voice attack. So we're going to open up voice attack. Now, voice attack is going to be connected to your microphone. Let's bring it over here. I got too many displays going. So here it is. Okay, here's voice attack. This little guy here looks like a little pencil. Click on it. Now you can see I've got about 4 or 5 of these. Okay, already made. So right here, let's look at this one, Kiwi, and we'll open it. So I'll show you one of mine, and then we'll do one together. So at the very top, it's laid out. When I say Kiwi, okay, or you can have it when you press a key. You can assign it that way as well. This is what happens. There's a 3-second pause. The reason I put a 3-second pause just on the instant replay is when the action happens, the kill happens, and I say it right away, I want a little bit of leeway between me saying it and the action happening so it doesn't get cut off when it replays. It took a little while to tweak it to get it like that. So then it's going to go left control, left shift, D. It does a key press. It's going to do that key press. Now what that key press is, I key binded my replay, my instant replay save that I was in my settings earlier and I showed you. So it's going to trigger that, all right? It does a key press for you automatically. It's going to pause for 5 seconds. So it saved that instant replay buffer, and now it's going to run the script we made, that script we just looked at. Boom. Or the script you just made for your instant replay, not the one we just looked at. So that's all automated by saying Kiwi. So boom, Kiwi, voice attack hears it, it runs these processes, done. If you went in and you hit new command, so let's say you've got let's go back out. So you opened it, you hit this little guy here. Okay. You go to new command, come up with a word you want to say. What's your safe word, Grizz? You still watching? I don't know. You put your safe word in here. Now these are your processes. Now key press is easy, right? You would just go to key press, and then it would give you an option of what key presses you want to do. You go through that and save it, okay? But your script's a little different. When you want to run your script, you got to go to Other, Windows, Run an Application. So it's Other, Windows, Run an Application. You get in here, okay? This is where you're going to find your application. You click on these dots, okay? You're gonna, when you save your applications as well, you're gonna have 2 types of files. You're gonna have VBS files and BAT files. The VBS files are the ones you're going to use. The BAT files are the ones you're gonna re-import to Noobs if you want to tweak them. You could bring these back in and tweak them, and then export them back into that same folder. Those are the BAT files. But the VBS file is what you're gonna want to select. I'm just gonna select this one, whatever. Okay. So there it is. There's my script. Now this is important as well. Click hidden. The reason you want to click hidden is when these commands come up, like when you say that word, if you don't have the C prompt hidden, you're gonna have like a little C prompt box come up in your stream, and you don't want that. And that's it. And then you're gonna come up to here, hit OK. So basically, when I say my safe word, which is turkey, it's gonna run that script. So if I'm okay with that, I hit OK right down here. Boop. Hit OK. And you want to apply. Hit apply. Boom. So now I just saved a process in voice attack. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to delete it because fuck that. I say turkey a lot. That's voice attack. So those 2 programs help out a VR streamer beyond belief. A little frustrating at first just to set up, but once you got them set up, they're invaluable. The instant replay is a little tricky, especially when it gets into the queuing and the buffering, your replay buffer and having all that set up correctly. But if anybody has questions about that, you can always reach out to me about that. Yeah, so that's the rundown of my stream, kind of my setup, my processes, like everything that I use. Um, Next week, we are going to have a special guest. I don't want to say too much just in case she can't join us. But every week now, you guys are going to have to do what I just did. And we're going to go over a lot of different things as far as that. Let's see. Miss Misery's got a... Is going to be like... Yeah. Oh, it's going to be... Don't be worried about the setup. The setup's easy. If you're already doing everything I know you do, this is like nothing. Just reach out to me if you got questions about it. I will 100% help you out with that. Um, so is there a way to set it up where the instant replay can be captured from a different camera, from like a different view? Well, that's a good question. I mean, when you run your replay buffer, it's just going to capture whatever's on your main screen. So if on your main screen you had that camera, you could, zoom into that for your instant replay, that little section. But if it's not playing on uh, your main screen like this right now, if it's not playing on this screen, but it's on another source or something, you're not gonna be able to do that, Bobby. That's a good question though. I'd like to know about what you're thinking about doing for that. Sounds interesting. Um, but yeah, I was gonna wrap it up now unless anybody else had any questions on anything. I appreciate you guys contributing. It's the first time I'm doing this, so it's a little awkward for me. I'm still trying to get all this down. I think it's gonna be a little easier when you guys come in here and you guys talk. I can ask you guys questions about your setup or answer questions and get ideas from you guys and what you do. So I think we're gonna leave it at that. Thank you, Miss Misery. I appreciate you contributing to this first one. It means a lot to me. I didn't know if anybody would be. I figured this would just be a YouTube video, basically. I wouldn't have any live chat, but good to have you guys. So every week, again, we're going to have you all, you streamers out there. You're going to be in here. You're going to be telling us everything you know, and hopefully I'll learn a lot from it. Hopefully we both share from this, and maybe we get some other people started in streaming that were a little intimidated, and hopefully we can clean up some people's streams too, help them with quality and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys out there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and turn my headset on and go out there and get my ass kicked. So peace.